Yahoo! Prof here, and we've got some new things that have come in here. You might recognize these packages. I also may have one of these packages for squeers that came in over the Black Friday. Also have these that you may have already seen pictures of. Maybe not this guy here, but this is the new Sharge disc. Hey Paisley, how's Paisley Marie? Yeah, the kitten's getting way bigger, guys. Yeah, what are you doing, Paisley? That is the Sharge disc. This is what they had on their Kickstarter. It takes a 2230 M.2, real small, 10 gigabit, plugs right on there. And if you don't want to use the plug and take it out of the casing, the actual lanyard is the cable. Thought it was super cool. It's actually got a fan to help with performance. I really don't know how much that's going to do. Now, these do overheat and stuff like that, but it's a tiny, tiny, tiny little fan. I think a heatsink would have done more. Maybe there is also a heatsink in there. We'll find when we, because this is just the, as you can see right there, the enclosure. And I talked to Sabrent and picked up this guy right here, which is their Rocket NVMe 4.0. So this would be the Rocket 4 drive. They also have the Rocket Q4, which is that one's up to 2 terabytes. More than double. I think in the 2230, getting 2 terabytes in there is quite hard. Also, performance decreases. Now this is only a 10 gigabit enclosure, so you know, like 1,000 megabytes a second. Max storage says 2 terabyte. For me, being that I already have it's not around here at the moment, but I have my 4 terabyte Samsung T9. That's my main use case, so I didn't need to spend the extra here to go to the 2 terabyte. But we will get to take a look at a little Sabrent M.2. Probably gonna do that in a follow-up video, because in this one, it's for our EDC folks out there. Everyday carry. We got our Tactile Knife Co. This is the Maverick in the fat carbon. It's beautiful purple carbon fiber. We have Paisley Marie being in the way. Yeah, Paisley Marie. Just a cutie. Really liking their Nitro coffee inspired pen. I love the brass button. You can actually see the wear on there already. It's just nice to have that as a button. I don't know. I did get really attached. Something about the Ember, which is this is only their second ever seasonal bolt. I used this enough to the point where I killed the ink cartridge that's in it. I did have to Loctite down the button, as well as re-lube. Well, re-lube was more my fault because I took too much of the lube out and it got really rough, and that's because they actually painted the bolt, which they normally don't do. That's what they were worried about too, is if you can look here, they actually didn't paint the inside of the actual bolt that rolls around this edge here, because we just get worn off in the first place and create more friction. But this guy is a bit heavier too, because it is this is titanium, but it's got the brass at the top there, so a little bit of extra weight. I've been liking it though, but for some reason normally I'm not huge on the bolt, especially Tactile Turns bolt, despite having a number of them. But this thing, it's just real snappy and smooth. I basically, from the day I unboxed it, I used it as my main pen. I think because it didn't come broken or anything like that. The clip is bent out a little bit, but I have 5'11" jeans and pants I normally wear, and it is thicker. So at some point it just bent out a little bit. That would be resolved if I wanted to pull it apart, but I mean, it's going to have to be that wide anyway for those pants. Why did I bring those up? Because that's what's going to be in here, is related items, let's say. Skinny boy. They're both kind of skinny boys. All right, let's open up this one. Paisley, what are you doing over there? Oh, I did not cut it through all the way. I'm doing this around a very bent bendy GorillaPod tripod, making it quite a bit awkward. Paisley, it's not a scratching post. Using the bendy part of the OttLite as a scratching post. Like, come on. Alright, there's one. There's two. Alright, let's try and get you guys more over top here. Paisley, what are you doing? You're very much in the way. Alright, so let me get... These always have these pull tabs and everybody says always use the pull tab. It never works. Usually I just pull off the tab. Nothing more. Normally I wouldn't use this kind of knife. I'd use my tactical key change Tuck usually Tuck XL or Tuck Junior. I don't use the Tuck anymore. But because this is what we're unboxing, thought I might as well, that's the brand that we're unboxing. Might as well. So there's one item. I think that's Knife Co. A little bit fatter. Packaging there. Yeah. And this is Tactile Pen Co.'s Black Friday pen. Exclusive. Black Friday pen. Paisley, how do you gotta play with the receipt? Paisley Marie. So, we've got Tactile Knife Co., Tactile Pen Co., Tactile Turn. And this came out of one of their projects. Let's zoom in a little bit here. This is their distressed DLC. It just says Tactile Turn 23 on the bottom like usual. Oh, it's tight. Let's read here. Their distressed DLC bolt action. It was only available in a mini because something happened to these. I don't remember. I should probably check what, just so you guys know. Oh yeah, I should have checked that before I started the video. Distressed DLC bolt action. So only in the mini. Was for Black Friday. So it was based on this. Okay, so they had extra DLCs, but only in mini. I don't know if these are probably specifically cutoffs from DLC Black, and they used the same kind of effect that they did for the Stonewashed, which is like titanium, but it's like kind of like the more matte titanium. And they used that specifically on their extra DLC coated. Now, I don't know if these were extra because they had blemishes, because that's a pretty common thing to do, is throw things in the tumbler when they're a bit beat up. You'll see that from Cross Customs, they'll do their battle worn stuff. So those will be the ones that, you know, might not have as nice of a finish, etc. A little bit cheaper, I want to say. Cheaper than a DLC for sure. Only available in a mini. Downside of that, and this is where I'm going to have to play with some 3D printing, is the mini has to have the G2 mini refill. Now, apparently there are other refills. I think they're D1. Confirm. D1 refill. So yes, it is the D1 refill. I was correct. They make adapters that basically adapt the D1 refill into the size because it's smaller. I think length is going to be similar, but it'll make it as fat as a G2 Mini here. I'm not a huge fan of the G2 Mini because it's basically a US, maybe not US only, but they're always 0.7 from what I remember. It doesn't even have the size on it because that would be past where this marking is here. Thought I would pick it up though because it was a Black Friday exclusive. Good deal on it. You could use their discount. I forget what their discount was, but it was like I want to say like 30% off the whole store, 25% off the whole store, essentially if you ordered within certain time periods. Thought it looked pretty cool. I would normally never pick up a Mini by choice because I don't like the G2 Mini refill. However, being that this was like a Black Friday exclusive, and kind of cool, it's really smooth, probably because of that tumbling it had. Like that's really freaking smooth. Look at that thing go. One thing I will say is I think the bolt sticks out. This might be an older style too, because if you look, the bolt sticks out way more than on the Ember. Let me go and grab another one of my bolts from them. It's really easy to go at it. Alright, so yeah, I just kind of like double checked here. And this is sticking out way more than these guys are here. So this is a fairly early one for them because this is the Stealth. So this is before they redesigned the, it's not a J shape, like an L shape groove. This that's much snappier is after. And this is the Ultim. Now the Ultim does stick out quite a bit farther than the Stealth. You can see the actual material of the button is thicker, and it sticks out farther, but the shell on the Ultim is also thicker. Now, something like this reminds me much more of their original bolt action. I don't remember if this is the Slider or the Glider, but it's based on Parker. If you notice, it's like a C shape, and they went away from this. This is, I think, their original bolt style, originally on Kickstarter, but they went away from the C style groove there because you have to go like way. I think they just wanted something different because everybody made bolt action pens the same way, and it's not actually that bad. It's just definitely a lot more movement than, you know. And this is definitely that tighter grooving that you see on the Ultim here. So maybe they went to something that sticks out a little bit more. Yeah, you can definitely do it. You know. Compare that to the Ember though. You can see the Ember is very flush, and it has the much flatter button, just like on the Stealth. Now this is not the original button from the Stealth. This is the one I replaced because I bought this used, and the button was the one thing that was worn out. I don't know if that was new old stock they gave me, or I told them, hey, if you can even just take the correct button, like size or whatever, and just paint it, I would accept that. Just because it was so worn, like it was chipped and worn out, and so yeah. But it is black all the way through. So I was like, because they sell DLC And you gotta remember, oh, by the way, this is what DLC would look natively, because the stealth is DLC coded. So it's black. So they basically took this that was in mini sized. My guess is they may not actually have had many finished minis. They would have had almost finished minis and they couldn't sell them because most people, I think, buy the short, and I always get the standard because I like using Uniball. This would be a equivalent of the short. It uses the Parker refill. I have in here Schmidt Easy Flow. Not the Parker. This is actually one that Squares got me. It's stainless steel, which they used to actually originally do aluminum and stainless and brass and copper. It was only once they went to like the newer bolts that they switched to primarily titanium, and then with like sometimes with a coating or a powder coat, that sort of stuff. I really like the Ultim. It's a little bit fatter in your hand, and it's this action on here is so smooth. Seriously, just this one feels really smooth as well. I think because it's that tumbled stonewash, it just smoothed all those surfaces down on there. I don't know if they tumbled, because it does have some pretty good ridges. They're not as sharp as on like the Stealth, which is an older pen. The embers are not very sharp at all, though, especially getting close to the tip, because there's at least two coats of paint down here. So there's, it's just because there's Cerakote in there. So I don't know if they tumbled before or after they milled. I don't know. So if you guys know, let me know. But I'm going to play around with getting those the D1 refill adapters off of Shapeways. And I think there's a Hi-Tec-C D1 refill. Otherwise, they recommend Jetstream. I don't like this. Jetstream's fine for a ballpoint. I'm just not a huge ballpoint pen fan. Yeah, so I picked up a mini finally. I've never had a mini from Tactile Turn, but these were only available exclusively in minis for the Black Friday thing. Great discount in general on the site at the time, so I thought I would snag one. And it would give me a chance to play around with some of those refill adapters as well. Just they got rid of probably some extra dead stock or parts, and I got a unique pen. Oh, another note that you should be seeing somewhat soon. This is the Ultim. Well, they also made later on a Techiform, which is it's a blue plastic they use in like food trays and stuff like that and other industrial equipment, and that's because you can see it in X-rays, like for security, or like that's why you'd use it in manufacturing of food, because they can use X-rays and metal detectors to detect that it got in the food, or in this case, or a lot of times they'll use it in like a food tray in a prison, so that if somebody tried to hide it in certain places, they could find it, because what they do is they'll sharpen up and melt the plastic into like a shiv, essentially. And you can see how this one bent. Sad day, but yeah. So, but like I said, I literally used this from the day of release to the time, basically till the Nitro came in. And it was all scratchily writing ink those last couple days. But I was like, yeah, I know the new one's coming. I don't want to throw a refill in there, because what happens with gel refills, which is what I prefer to use, I don't know if you guys can see it in this Ultim, but you see the bubbles in there, because the air is up top, and eventually what happens is the bubbles work down and start, the gel will get pushed up by this going up, and the air will make its way in. And that eventually can kill a refill. A lot of these pens, though, I'll only use them, I'll use them initially when they come in until the next one comes in. But like in between there, they really just sit there. So, and I've considered even leaving them with no refill. But then the guts get kind of weird, and you can't, like, oftentimes, sometimes I'll just be not vibing. Like, say if I'm not hugely into the Nitro or something like that, I'll be like, you know what? I am. I'm feeling the classic, Or I'm hanging with Squares today. We gotta get the classic that he got me out, Bring that with. This thing's also a weapon. I have dropped this onto another pen and like dinged the pen. Not this pen because it's stainless steel. The other pen. Besides the tumbled titanium, stainless steel is probably my favorite to carry around. I like having a weightier pen personally. Like that this isn't going to get marred by just about anything. Like, you don't have to care about it, basically. It's not like pretty like the seasonal ones or anything like that. You just throw it in your pocket every day, and it'll just keep changing out. And I would use these all the time, like this one and the EDK. The EDK is much worse for wear compared to this. Toss them both in my pocket and run them every day, and just keep refilling it. Having that Schmidt refill in there, it's pretty bold. It's a really nice dark. I don't know if it's like technically a rollerball or what it is, but has some nice dark bold lines, which when I was writing for some older people, because you deal with a lot of older people when you're in the squad doing help or you're just writing out directions, that bolder ink, like not as precise, actually can help because it's just inherently bigger. So yeah, like the little stubby guy. I don't know how much I'm going to use it with the G2 Mini that is in here. Oh, Paisley's got a little mousey. Paisley, where you going? Yeah, you got mousey? What's up? You gonna give me the mousey? She likes the little pom-pom mousies, and she carries them around. We'll find them in her food bowl, in the bathroom, in the litter box, basically. A bunch of other places. Oh, and I did get it engraved, because when available, like the only ones I don't get engraved are the seasonals, and I don't even know if they even offer that, but because a lot of times they'll put designs on the clip. In this case, I have a feeling once I get this one tuned in, this might be one kind of like the Smooth Operator, I think they called it, which is like a modified version of the Slim Bolt. That's another one, like the Smooth Operator, I could see myself rocking every day, even though it uses like it's Parker's style, but it's an Oto refill, which you can get in ballpoint. It's a needle point. You can also get them in gel, which is what I've given David one of those as well. They don't write as well as like a Hi-Tec-C or a Uniball, but because they're a needle point and in this slightly shorter pen, this is a mini. They're this sized. The Smooth Operator actually a little bit smaller than that even. Probably, in my opinion, Smooth Operator, one of the best EDC pens. Because the length of these Uniballs can get in the way, like the standard length that takes the Uniball refill. I just like it because when it can take a Uniball refill or a G2, if it can take a G2, it can generally either take a Uniball or be modified to take a Uniball. And that just gives you so many options. You can use a Pilot Juice, a Juice Up. If you like the G2, you can use the G2. You can use any of Uniball's range of pens, from ballpoint to gel to... It's just like the most compatible. And often I'll like to use a pen, and sometimes you'll just want to swap the refill on it, and not... Especially when if you were to go and buy, and you're going to have a pen, or actually, to be truthful, guys, I recommend having two, because you never know if it runs out or you got to hand one to somebody, you always want another one. That's how I always did it in Geek Squad. Less so now when I go day to day, because I don't have to give my pens to anybody. But even if you set it down, even on your own desk, like, don't lose it places. But I do recommend get two. Like, if you find one, buy one from a different brand, but try to stick within your same compatible refills, unless you want this pen to have this one and you specifically want your other one to have a different style refill. But it's always nice to have two pens. You never know. Maybe one's just stupid writing today. Sometimes it gets stupid cold around here, and some of them don't like writing in that kind of weather. Then you have a different one with a different refill. So... What does it say on here? Bolt Action Mini Distressed. Boop. There you go. So I've mostly picked this up, like I said, because it was a Black Friday deal. Unique, like they won't be making more of them because it's just out of extra parts. I always kind of like that. I bought a lot of Karas customs that are that way too, like they're extras and stuff like that. And then I normally wouldn't buy a mini, but it's only available in the mini. And then I can play around with some different refills I normally wouldn't play with, because I would have no reason to buy a D1. refill. And they don't even fit natively. You gotta get a part 3D printed. They have a link to Shapeways where you can order them. It's like $8 to $12 depending on what material you want. What's next? Well, Tactile Knife Co. Like this guy, except it's not this style. This is a Maverick. It's gonna be like this guy, this is my Nautilus, and it is the Bexar? Rockwall. The Bexar is the even smaller one. So the Rockwall, number one pen for me in design is going to be the Nautilus. That is why I had to get this one. A lot of the early pens are good, but the paint job of the Nautilus, it's like this iridescent blue that goes towards gold, and then the accents on it are gold. It's a beautiful pen. Had to get the matching knife for it. These are very much not cheap. Ran this, carried it for a while. You can even see there's some wear on the edges. I believe in, if you're gonna buy something, use it. From a design perspective, I think the Maverick is a better knife. If I'm gonna carry one, this is gonna be it. Love the grip on the fat carbon scales on the side here. And the early Mavericks were, I'd say they didn't review well. There was play in the hinge. There was, a lot of tactile stuff. If it's a new design, wait, don't buy it right away. Wait a month, maybe 2 months. Paisley, I'm trying to open this. You're being awfully cute, but gorgeous. And you might have seen that from the bottom. Rockwall, Fairway, and then I was not planning on getting it, but then they did come out with the Tanto version of the Rockwall, which is a different cut on the blade. And when that happened, they made this one by default does not come in Tanto. It comes in the, I think it's called a drop tip, like this. By the way, size of the Rockwall is perfect. Like this hits in your hand perfectly. Where everything is perfectly. It is a little bit tough to get this out. Like I can do it. It pops it though. I'm being climbed by a kitten. Well, one of my other favorite ones from a little bit later in the series. Paisley, what are you doing? No, you're clawing my headrest. You can't do that. You can't do that. No. You can't. She's like, I'm going to show you. Yeah, that's my new knife. Let me get the pens for you guys. I'm gonna put these away and grab the matching ones over here. There is not a matching for the Maverick. They did make an Ember in the Maverick. Actually looks really cool. It's just way too much red for me. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I prefer the finish on my Fairway pen, by far. It's got more of... Paisley, hey, I'm trying to make a video for the people on the YouTubes. Yeah, you cute kitten. You need your claws cut. You got weapons. Yeah, you got weapons. You just hit me in the neck. Put you down. Thank you. Rockwall thumb stuff, Fairway, 63 hardness. I waited quite a while to actually buy one of these. It was in my cart. I might have never actually done it. But then Tactile Knife Co. also had just a generic money off everything for Black Friday. You can see right away, though, that I think it's the same paint. It ended up coming out a little bit differently between the Nautilus pen and the blade. I think because there's a flat surface here, right? But if you put it back here, it looks very, very similar, if not the same. But as soon as you hit, like, it's because this is round and long this way, there's less flat surfaces. You know, and on this guy, it's the normal tactile thing here. Now, what they did, and they changed it up a little bit on the Fairway knife. And I would say rightfully so. Looks-wise, by the way, I do prefer the old clip with the 2 screws. I think the new clip is better, which is the one that came with their slim, which is on like the nitro here. This would probably make a beautiful knife as well. I'll have to see which knife they put out in the nitro. I wouldn't say that this is as good as either of these two. It's close though, especially because they added that nice brass button up there. I want to see what knife they make out of this. The Ember as a pen, I really like. They did a very good job on the paint job of the Maverick knife in the Ember style, but I only need one of these, and I really like the carbon fiber grips, whereas the other one is the painted titanium, a little bit heavier. I guess it's more robust. I don't really reef on this though, like some people apparently do, or some people apparently think they need to do, which is fine. To each their own, you know. What they did here is a bit different. That is part of the reason why I could justify getting the knife. What they did is not only could you get the Tanto blade, and you could only get this directly through Tactile. I would have bought it much sooner if third-party knife places could get the Tanto version of the Fairway. But by default, the Fairway is in the drop point, which is the same as my Nautilus. So drop point, Tanto. And you're like, why do you want the different one? Well, because I don't buy that many knives. So if I'm going to get one, I want a different one. Kind of like what I said with the pens. You get one that's, if you know you like this pen, just get a second one of the same one. Otherwise, if you purposely want something different, get something different. So the other thing they did with the Fairway is, if you notice how Tactile does their pens, is generally you get a different texture or design on the clip. In this case, that is where you get your golf ball style of divots, right? Gorgeous pen. Love how squared off the click is. They've definitely went to a little bit more rounded when they went to the newer clip to kind of mirror the slims as well. It's just you see how it just clicks down? Love the older side clicks personally. Just, I mean, I know there's less leeway and stuff in there. Now, if you look at this paint job, there's the same sort of flat. Holy shit! What are we doing, and why are you're taking parts of the motherboard? Why are you doing this? Kitten, this has been here for like weeks. Why? Yeah, why? Here's the animal. Yeah. Yeah, is it because I'm doing something that isn't paying attention to you? Yeah? Here, what if we put you right there? Yeah. So, what I was going to say is they have very much, it's not iridescent like the, it's kind of a little bit. That's a knife, kitten. If you paw that, we will have issues. Hey, you can't do that. You can't. I don't want you to hurt your paw. Yeah. It's bad if you do that, okay? Here, let's go get you your box of mousies. Yeah. That could have been an incident. Don't want a kitten pawing a fairly sharp... She's back with her mousie. At least it's a mousie. Fairly sharp blade. Oh, I can tell you that this is way smoother than the Nautilus. See, because I gotta... Like, that's some effort, right? Whereas on the Fairway, that is much smoother. They don't look that much thicker, like the side panel grips, I want to say, right? But they feel thicker on this guy. That might be because they're more squared off, because this is a design they started to do, and why I switched to it. The Tanto ones were available instead of the normal tactile ribbed, which you even see on the Carbon Fiber Maverick. Gives you nice grip there. Very, like, that's tactile style. You got divots, and they actually did this on the non Fairway ones as well. But then they also made it like, and that one was exclusively Tanto, if I recall correctly. That had this pattern on it and was just titanium. But then they did it because that very much lined up with the Fairway. So instead of having the yellow part having the we're gonna call it like golf ball style divots on there, it's actually the side green and the white screw slash, it's not a rivet, but you know, like the attachment up here has the divots on it. The screw actually much more, like they made it look like a golf ball, like very similar. So it's actually a little bit better, I would say, than what they did with the pen color wise. It's a little sad to me that either the green Cerakote they used is slightly different from what's on the pen, though looking up close you can see the iridescent. I have a feeling because this got smoothed out even more when they put the divots in, you know, instead of having the lines, and kind of like how the Nautilus knife is. At certain angles it's very gold, because you have a lot of flat surface and then it goes blue. Whereas on the pen, because it's rounded, you kind of always get this shiny gold part here and then the very deep blues over there. Same sort of thing as it seems to have happened with the Fairway pen. It just seems much more green. But I think that's because you don't have that shine, that sheen, and then if you hold it that way, you get a lot of sheen. So, but this is the deep space, and they did make a Rockwall deep space. I just didn't think that design would translate very well. I think it was Rockwall, at least. Rockwall thumb stud. I just didn't think that design would translate very well into a knife, because it's all these like galaxies and stuff. You proved me wrong, I guess. But this one, when I saw this, and then I saw it had a different design. Like all the other Rockwalls have been this same sort of design with the same tactile, and you just had it in the colors of whatever pen, because a lot of people want the matching knife to go with the pen. Well, they did the second round of Rockwalls to catch up their colors. This was a couple months back, and I finally bought one, and I wanted specifically the Tanto. Otherwise I was like, I'm not going to get it. And they had some available on Black Friday with their discount, so I picked it up. And there's a kitten stealing things again. Kitten. Stealing things. Again. Kitten. Don't paw me in the face with your claws. What the heck? I know you don't like me stopping doing things, but that's not a good excuse. It's not. No. Yes, cutie. Paisley, what are you doing? Hey. Hey. Yeah, there you are. You're a cutie. Yeah. Pause the camera. Stand. Can you go see if he sleeps? You're biting me and attacking me. There's other cats to do that to instead of me. But yeah, so I picked this up because they did sell it in the different like cut, essentially, like the different design, which does go with the Golf thing, and then the different blade style in the Tanto. Like I said, on other websites, the Fairway was not available in Tanto, but in Drop Point. So that's why I wanted to get it specifically through Tactile, which meant I had to wait a little bit. But yeah, this is much smoother than the Nautilus is. But that is one thing I don't necessarily like about the Rockwall is you see the blade hit my thumb. And you could call it a skill issue. Yeah, because you have to go like this. Well, a lot of these are so loose once you get them that it just hits it. Now, with it being as sharp as it is, luckily I keep some nail. I did just cut them. You know, so you get, you know, some stuff there. Something like with the Maverick, this is a much bigger, heavier knife, but you can just flick it out, flick it closed if you're a little bit of practice. They did come out with a newer knife, newer than this. I haven't looked at reviews. It is like twice as expensive as this is, which is already super duper duper expensive. In my opinion, for knives, it's also much bigger, and like this is still an everyday carry. See, it's got the pocket clip thing. I feel like bigger than this, you're starting to get into like belt clip style and size style. Like also the blade on it is much wider this way, which I actually prefer. Like when I saw this, that's beautiful to me. That length, long and skinny. If you look at one of my first knife purchases since I got back into EDC knives, what that was, I always liked I think it's called the Leak. That's a very skinny, long knife too. I've just always liked that style because if I'm gonna go for like short and fat, I might as well just use a box cutter for what I do most of the time. So this one fits in my hand perfectly. This is the one I always have this one on my desk for a knife. We're gonna be rocking this one for a while, obviously, because it's the brand new one. This size is, at least in my hand, fits perfectly. If you put your hand right here, they got this one right, you know. And I would say everyday carry wise, this is better. I just prefer like this style of knife. And if you don't want to flick it, you can use your thumb, and it's way easier, and then you just release it, and you know, that's how I usually do it, like that. It's not assisted in any way, and this locks really solid, whereas those don't lock at all. Or sorry, these are liner lock, right in the middle. That's called liner lock. I've never been a big fan of liner lock knives. I know it's very strong, and it's cheap. That's why a lot of things have switched to it. But you're like, switch to it. Yes, I'm older, guys. Switched to it as in like 30 years ago. Started switching to it or whatever. But compared to like the Bexar, which is actually super thin, super lightweight, because I have it in the Ultim version. She's chewing on my cable for my soldering iron. Paisley, what are you doing? What are you doing, Pace? You have how many toys? Yeah, I thought I'd show you guys this off. You got not only the Fairway, climbing me now. We got not only the Fairway Rockwall thumbstick off my. You keep calling my headrest. You need to not do that. You need to not do that. Yeah, you need to not do that. And the tumbled DLC Mini. super smooth Black Friday exclusive one. Or I don't know if it's exclusive, but it came out on the Black Friday. Cool design in my opinion. We'll give her a shot. If you guys have any comments, throw them down below. We've had just a few interruptions from this little lady over here. Yeah, what do you have to say for yourself, Paisley? Yeah, now that we're done, you're cleaning and you're all happy and you're sitting there? Mm-hmm. Thought so.